Humanity did not reach the world we live in by moving forward in a straight line. Throughout history, entire civilizations developed advanced systems of knowledge that never fully survived. Centuries ago, information was not scattered across nations and continents. It was deliberately collected, preserved, and studied in a few critical centers. These places were not simply storing books. They were safeguarding medicine, mathematics, engineering, and careful observations of the natural world. Some of this knowledge may have been ahead of its time. Not mythical, not magical, but advanced enough to be misunderstood and eventually forgotten. But history does not automatically protect knowledge. When institutions collapse and systems fail, information disappears with them. And when that happens, humanity does not notice the loss immediately. The cost is paid slowly, over centuries. The Library of Alexandria was not famous because it was large. It was important because it tried to collect all human knowledge in one place. Its goal was simple and extremely dangerous: to gather texts from every known civilization, in every known language. Ships arriving in Alexandria were searched. Their books were taken, copied, translated, and sometimes the originals were never returned. What remained inside the library was not random information. It was organized, compared, and constantly challenged by scholars. This was not passive storage. It was an early attempt at building a global knowledge system. Mathematics, astronomy, medicine, engineering. Ideas were tested, rewritten, corrected, and passed forward instead of being forgotten. Some of the figures connected to Alexandria measured the Earth's circumference, mapped the stars, and questioned ideas that would not return for centuries. The library mattered because it protected continuity. Knowledge was not reinvented each generation. The destruction of Alexandria was not a single moment. It was the result of instability, conflict, and repeated interruptions over time. Wars disrupted funding, political shifts changed priorities, and scholars were slowly displaced. Without support, the system that preserved knowledge began to fragment. Texts were scattered, lost, or left unprotected. Different periods blamed different events: Caesar's campaign, religious upheavals, political purges, but none of them alone explained the total loss. What mattered was not who struck the final blow, but that the system no longer existed to recover from it. When knowledge loses its institutional home, it does not travel safely through time. It simply disappears. No backups existed, no global copies, no distributed network to preserve what had been built. And once that continuity was broken, human progress did not stop, but it slowed enough to reshape centuries. What disappeared was not just information. It was the ability to build on previous knowledge without starting over. In medicine, treatments were recorded but not preserved. Methods that once worked had to be rediscovered through trial and error. In engineering, techniques were abandoned. Structures that could have been refined were instead rebuilt from scratch. In mathematics and astronomy, precise measurements were lost, forcing later scholars to repeat calculations that had already been solved. Without shared records, progress no longer moved forward continuously. It advanced in isolated steps, separated by long periods of rebuilding. Historians debate exact timelines, but many agree this loss delayed human advancement by centuries, not through ignorance, but through disconnection. This is where the question begins, not as fantasy, but as a serious historical possibility. Historians do not agree on exact numbers, but many suggest humanity may have lost hundreds of years of accumulated progress. This does not mean technology would look futuristic. It means medicine, navigation, and engineering could have matured earlier than they did. Earlier progress compounds. When knowledge survives, each generation starts ahead, not from the beginning. A delay of even a few centuries reshapes history. It changes when discoveries happen, and who lives long enough to benefit from them. So the question is not whether humanity would be 500 years ahead, but how different our present might be if that chain of knowledge had never been broken. And this is not a question with a final answer. It is an invitation to consider how fragile progress really is. When knowledge disappears, it does not vanish dramatically. It fades quietly without witnesses. There is no single moment when humanity realizes what was lost. No alarm, no clear point of failure, The damage appears later, in delayed discoveries, unfinished ideas, and questions that had already been answered once. Civilizations fall, languages disappear, but it is the loss of institutional memory that slows progress the most. Alexandria was not unique because it was ancient. It was unique because it tried to protect continuity in a fragile world. Once that continuity was broken, human progress did not stop, but it began to move without a map. And the real cost of forgetting is not what we lost in the past, but how carefully we choose to protect knowledge in the present.